Welcome back to the Gatorbox Extra Life Marathon, 10th Annual Extra Life X, as we're calling it. Our best of compilation stream where we featuring games from all of our previous Extra Lives. No new games on the schedule this year, only our greatest hits and some deep cuts. So, coming up next, we've got, I would consider one of our greatest hits games. It's a game I love to play. It's Crimson Room Decade. It's for PC. It's on Steam. This is the fifth game in the Crimson Room series of games by Toshimitsu Takagi, and it's a great reimagining of the original Crimson Room. So if you've never played Crimson Room, you're missing out. But Crimson Room was a monumental room escape game that came out around 2003, I think. It was made in Flash, and you wake up and you're in the Crimson Room. It's a room with red walls, and there's a bed, a dresser, and a CD player, and that's all there is. And you have to search around in the room to find all these little knickknacks and trinkets that you can use to unlock the drawers on the dresser, to open up the CD player. You know, there's all sorts of things to do, and I don't want to spoil it because it is a fantastic playthrough if you haven't done it before. So Crimson Room begat the Viridian Room, which then led into the Blue Chamber, which then led into White Chamber. White Chamber is probably, I would say White Chamber is the high point, the high watermark for the series, which is a divisive opinion because a lot of people don't like White Chamber, but I found it to be incredible. It's got a soundtrack. You know, we've played it before on the stream. Do I have it handy? Do I have the White Chamber theme?
1, 2, 3.
It's got a theme. I think it's great. I think it's great. So, it's each of the room escape challenges is uniquely different, and it's a lot of fun to play. And a little bit after, it's called Crimson Room Decade, but the game didn't come out exactly 10 years after the first. It's more like 13 or 14. It came out, I think, in 2016 or 2017, I think. And I didn't know about it until a few years ago, and I caught up with it, and I fell in love with Crimson Room Decade, because at first I was like, oh, is it a remake of the original game because you're back in the Crimson Room? No. The game puts you back in the Crimson Room, and there's some familiar stuff in the room, but everything has a twist. So you'll recognize objects from the original game if you played it. You don't have to have played the first game to understand Decade. But if you have played the first game, then you'll recognize cameo appearances from other things from that game. And you can unlock some achievements in the game by trying to use those items in their original intent ways. Because the game rewards you for being creative and trying to do that. But instead, you have to use these items in new ways. And it's really something else. So Crimson Room Decade was released as kind of an anniversary release, and it's just great. So we're going to have a 100% run of Crimson Room Decade. That basically means we're going to find all 10 of the missing journal pages. We're not going to read them. We're just going to blow through them and find them and pick them up and say, okay, we're done. But Crimson Room Decade is a great little game on Steam. It's priced a little high for how long the game is, but I say throw it in your wish list, wait for it to go on sale, pick it up. I'm about to spoil it for you, so if you want to solve the puzzle on your own, maybe tune out for the next 10-15 minutes, because coming up next, we got Crimson Room Decade right here on the Gatorbox Extra Life Marathon. Oh, okay. New game. It's one journal page. They even have the same discovery sound. I love it. Okay, let's do this. Found a pencil. What's the symbol in this thing? Justice scales. Okay, we're gonna fuck around with this curtain for a little while. I promise there's a reason for this. Every time you mess with the curtain, a day passes. So if we look at the calendar, it's marking off days. Alright. Now if we open this, that symbol turns into a knife. And where the safe used to be is a contraption of some sort. And knocking that panel loose gives us that. The fourth journal page. Now there's no stereo in this game, but they do have the record player, which is supposed to be the same thing. Anyways, we need the battery from this. Red key. Put it in the machine. Here's the twist. You guys ready for the twist? Also, yeah, the discovery sound from Crimson Room is the game hell sound that we use on YouTube. So now the whole room is flipped over. Except for the bed, which is anchored to the wall. Journal page. Postcard of the boat. So the Crimson Room in this game is a quarters in a boat called Le Crimson. So that's how the character knows what's going on. Is it's a boat. Wait a second here. And if you look in the reflection of the window, it's the mask of the guy pointing at the safe on the wall, the shadow, the stain or whatever. So the safe is broken. We're going to do some magic. We see this postcard with the boat, we're going to put that in the safe. Then we're going to touch the light. 29, what, 55? It turned into a ship. And now, if we pop off that, there's another key. And we can turn to the right. So a lot of these puzzles, I already know the answers to. The reason why you know there's something in the fourth smokestack of the ship is when you inspect the calendar, the player makes note of the fact there's no smoke coming out of the fourth smokestack. So that's your clue that there's something awry with the fourth smokestack on the ship. Ah, Crimson Room's greatest hits. Sorry, I had to do it. Gotta get the journals. Pencil. This record's kind of dirty. Now it's spotless. There's the box from the first game. There's journal number 8. Okay. Open it up. We need the battery. Where'd the flashlight go? Oh, it's down here. Play that funky music. It seems like a missed opportunity to not make the Crimson Room for Virtual Boy. It's dark red. It would have fit right in. Oh, the door's broke. I can fix that. I got this, hang on. Oh, Jesus. I made it worse. Better put the boat in there. And that drains the water. So now we can go out, go down the ladder. And we apparently get really tiny when we go down here. We shrink down. We're like really small now. Journal number 9. Here's that doll from the beginning we found. Put him on the bow of the ship. So you can actually walk during that cutscene, so I can cover some more distance there. Almost done. One thing we gotta do is pop open smokestack number 4 again and get journal number 10. Now you notice there's a corkscrew here, and it just so happens there's a nice bottle of wine here, and that is time. So the wine floods this room, and the boat is we're gonna sail out on the boat. I always talk about this whenever we play Crimson Room Decade, because Toshimitsu Takagi he's really, I'm gonna call him a genius, because his games are fantastic and they have deeper meanings to them. For example, the Viridian Room, you're helping a distressed spirit of a deceased man who committed suicide move on to the next life by way of giving him a cold beer. And there's a lot of like symbology in these games, and I feel like Crimson Room Decade is about birth. Like, and my argument for this, I always say this every year we feature it, because I like to talk about game theory and designs and stuff like that. I feel like this game is about birth because you're in the Crimson Room and you use the keys to turn and shift and change the room around, almost like a baby moving around in the mother's womb. And then when you kick open the door and then you drain the water, that's like the woman's water breaking. And then you go out through the narrow passage at the very end, you shrink down and go out, like, I feel like it's an allegory for birth. And calm down, Matt Pat. Shut up. But no, like, Toshimitsu Takagi, he makes these games with deeper meaning. And the thing I love the most about the Crimson Room Decade is that when the game says you've been here before, it makes me wonder if, like, is the Crimson Room like a psychological place? Is it not a physical place? Because at first, the Crimson Room was supposed to be part of like an apartment building, and then now it's on a boat, so it's like, can the Crimson Room materialize anywhere? And, you know, the first time I played this game, it gave me goosebumps seeing, you know, the Crimson Room all decrepit and everything again. Also, check this out. Check this out. Look at this tease. Look at this tease. It turns green! The screen turns green before it fades to black! They're teasing Viridian Room Decade, and they never made it. We never got Viridian Room Decade. That's such a bummer. That's such a fucking bummer. When I played this game, I was floored by it. And, I sent the developer a nice message, a nice letter. I sent the publisher the same letter. And I was like, hey, I'm a huge fan. Is there going to be a Viridian Room Decade? If so, I'll buy it day one when it comes out. I'm a huge fan of Takagi's work. And they didn't give me an answer whether or not they were going to make a follow-up to Viridian Room Decade or whatever. But they did give me a Steam key for like a make-your-own anime manga thing on Steam. It's like a $75 value thing they gave me, which I thought was really nice of them. But unfortunately, I don't know if there's ever going to be a Viridian Room Decade. I would love to see how they turn Viridian Room into a derelict, rundown version of itself, because Viridian Room had the dead body in it. So I want to know what happens to all the stuff in that room, because Crimson Room, so many of these old things from the first game make an appearance in this game, but you have to use them in new ways. Like the decorative plate, you actually have to use that to trap water to get part of the curtains wet. Like, back then, the dish had a ring in it. You couldn't interact with the dish. But now the dish is an item that you can use. So I was like, my mind was blown with how creative this game was, taking these existing assets and reimagining them. So I wanted to see how they would do that with Viridian Room, because I was impressed with how they managed to find double uses for everything in Crimson Room. Viridian Room would be even harder, and that would really impress me. So, but unfortunately, I don't think it's in the cards. I don't think we're getting Viridian Room Decade anytime soon. Viridian Room Double Decade, regular Magical Unicorn. Yeah, it comes out so late as Double Decade. But I would love to see it. I would love to see it so bad. You have no idea. I live for these games. And I think Crimson Room Decade is a great game. I don't think it quite beats White Chamber. I think White Chamber still edges it out because of how creative White Chamber was with the motorcycle and having to input the combination codes and all the passwords you have to find, everything else like that. I liked that. White Chamber stands as probably the best game in the series to me, and then Crimson Room Decade is probably second best. And then the original Crimson Room is third, and then I'd put Viridian Room fourth, and then Blue Chamber fifth. Because Blue Chamber I think was made for mobile devices way back in the day, when mobile devices are really super simple, so it's not really a technically impressive game. It's still a fun game, but it's not like as in-depth as the other ones are. But yeah, Crimson Room Decade, it's on Steam. Buy it, support the developer, support the publisher. Maybe I wish I had a bigger following, not because of my ego, but because I wish I could have the power to wield a group of fans to demand Viridian Room Decade. I wish I had that outreach, because I would love nothing more than to be able to use my powers for good to convince Dream Holdings and Takagism to produce Viridian Room Decade. I would love nothing more. I would be so happy to do that. And then Blue Chamber Decade and White Chamber Decade, you know, I want to see them all. I want to see them all. I'm such a fan of this man's work. You guys have no idea. Crimson Room Decade is a slam dunk for me. Check it out on Steam. Like I said, the price might be a little bit high with its regular price, but it's November right now. Coming up next month, we got the Steam Christmas sale coming on. So we got the Steam Christmas sale, and this game usually goes on sale for about half off or something like that. So pick it up when it's on sale. It's a great game, and I know I spoiled the ending and everything else. I spoiled the puzzles, but if you want to read the journals, if you want to try to solve the puzzles for yourself, if you want to get the achievements for yourself, it's worth experimenting with. Like I said, you get the achievements for experimenting with the items. So, for example, I'll spoil one of them. There's an achievement called, like, Nice Try or something, and when you get the pocket knife, if you open up to the screwdriver and you try to use the screwdriver on the door, the game says nice try, and it doesn't work this time. Because the way it works in the original Crimson Room is you find a screwdriver and you pop the handle off the door, and that breaks the lock, and it opens up and leads into the Viridian Room. So I thought that was interesting, that the game gives you another screwdriver, and if you try to use it on the door like you did in the first game, the game is like, nope, that may have worked last time, but not this time. So it's great. It's great. And like I said, putting this game on and seeing the Crimson Room again for the first time in like 15 years, it gave me goosebumps, because it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if the Crimson Room really is a psychological manifestation. Did you really escape the Crimson Room the first time? Did you really get out? Because you're back. So it makes you, it's like, It's like a mind blow thing. It's fantastic. I can't speak highly enough about this game. Anyways, that's Crimson Room Decade. You saw it here on the Gatorbox Extra Life Marathon. We got more great games coming up, including Kirby's Adventure coming up, so stick around. You don't want to miss that. Hey, thanks for checking out Gatorbox on YouTube. We really appreciate it. If you like what you saw and you want to kick around with us live, follow us on Twitch because we do this several times during the week. And if you want to support this channel, you can do so by subscribing right here on YouTube, following or subscribing over on Twitch, or even making a pledge on Patreon. Your support over the years has been tremendous. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video right here on Gatorbox.